Tonight we have a very special guest. He comes to us from Egypt and has witnessed many amazing sights. Welcome, Moses!
Thank you. It's an honor to be here to speak to you and the kids here at the club.
Well, we are very glad to have you here. We know that you have seen God's power right before your eyes, and we're excited to hear about it. Aren't we, kids? Let's dig right in and hear your story.
Very well. Where would you like to begin?
How about at the burning bush?
Yes, I saw a bush. It was burning. At first I thought it was burning because of the heat and the dryness of the land. But when I got closer I realized that the leaves on the bush were not burning up. The bush burned, but it didn't curl up and turn brown from the fire. In fact, it stayed just as green as it was before the fire.
That's amazing.
But it gets better. As I approached the bush, a voice came from it. It was God. He called my name, and he told me to take off my shoes because I was standing on holy ground. Imagine me, a shepherd, standing on holy ground and talking to God.
What did God say?
What he said scared me. He wanted me to go to Egypt and free the Israelites who were in slavery to Pharaoh.
What did you say?
I kind of disagreed with God, but I said yes after he told me that he would be with me.
Wow, that sure shows us God's power. He allowed a bush to burn, but it never burned up.
But wait, there's more to tell you about God's power. This is only one part of the whole story.
So, what's next?
Well, I went to Egypt, and Pharaoh wouldn't let the Israelites go. So I told Pharaoh that if he didn't let the people go, that horrible things would happen. These things are called plagues, and they would happen to the people. I could tell him this because this is what God told me would happen. Pharaoh still refused to let the Israelites go, so one by one these horrible plagues came upon the people. God showed his power in these plagues. God caused them to start, and he caused them to stop. Can you imagine every part of your town being filled with gnats? Those little tiny annoying bugs that get in your eyes and nose? What about flies or locusts? These bugs were everywhere. You couldn't step outside without crushing some under your feet. You couldn't sit without squishing them.
And God caused all those plagues?
Yes, he did. He is so powerful that he also caused hail to fall from the sky. Once it hit the ground, it turned into fire. Oh, and he caused darkness to come over the whole land. It was so dark that none of the Egyptians could see their hands in front of their faces for 3 days. But you know what? Every single Israelite had light and could see when the Egyptians could not.
Wow, that's truly supernatural.
Yes, it was. It sure was.
Okay, we have time for one more example. Do you have another story about God's power?
Yes, and I've saved the best for last.
We can't wait to hear it.
This is such a great story of God's amazing power. It gives me the chills just thinking about it.
Okay, tell us already. What is it?
Well, after the plagues, Pharaoh finally agreed to let the Israelites go free. Everyone packed up what they could carry, and we began to travel on a desert road toward the Red Sea. When we reached the Red Sea, we thought we were free of Pharaoh, but then a cloud of dust began to rise on the horizon behind us. As we looked, we could see that it was Pharaoh and his army coming after us. He had decided that he didn't want to let the Israelites go after all. There were over 600 chariots coming right at us.
Oh my, what did you do?
I told the people, who were panicked by now, that they needed to be still so that they could see the power and deliverance of God.
You told them to be still?
Yes. Then God told me to stretch out my staff along the water of the Red Sea. As I did this, God opened up the waters and created a dry path right down the middle where we could cross. It took some time to cross because there were so many of us, but just as we got over to the other side, Pharaoh and his army started to enter the sea path that we had just walked on.
What happened?
God waited until Pharaoh and his army were in the middle of the sea, and then he closed the sea on them, all of them.
That is truly amazing. God opened a sea and closed it. He really is a powerful God.
He is indeed. Let me tell you why he's so powerful. He's powerful because he is God. A man named Jeremiah once wrote something that is in the Bible. He wrote that God made the heavens and the earth by his great power and outstretched arm. Nothing is too hard for him. You have heard my story, so now you know too. God really is all-powerful.
Yes, he really is. Thank you for coming to talk to us, Moses. We appreciate it so much. Don't we, kids? Let's show our appreciation for Moses for coming to speak with us.